Hey guys, it's Vanity Ezzo, back again for another Card Fight Vanguard deck profile. So if you guys enjoy, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and donate to the Patreon. So let's get this one started. Today's deck is my Murakumo Shirayuki deck. So, Shirayuki, it basically brings your opponent down to the negatives and you beat the shit out of them with a lot of attacks. Very fun thing to do, and you can get a lot of Excel circles out and just punish them forever deciding to play this game. So let's go ahead and get this started. First up, the starter is Massage Stealth Rogue Goemon, 6k base, 10k shield, auto and road upon you get to draw a card. Then if your opponent's Vanguard's grade 1 or greater, you get a quick shield ticket. The draw that I always top deck of combined with the power of a 5k shield is always extremely helpful because you can use the 5k shield for discard fodder, or you can actually use it as a 5k shield later on in the game where you need an extra 5k. All around, just a really helpful stuff. And trigger lineup wise, I didn't really know what to go with because I felt like fronts were kind of too unnecessary if you put 8 of them because the opponent's at like negative power. So bombarding them with fronts, one, is just cruel and unusual punishment, but also it would be wasted because they already have a tough time guarding anyway. So why not throw in some crits? So we've got 4 crits, 4 fronts, 4 draw PG, because why would you not run the draw PG? It gets you a free PG plus a draw. And just in case you couldn't bring your opponent down into the negatives, like you ran out of Counterblast or Soul Blast or something like that, you can still have the PG to protect you, and the heal trigger just being this. Okay, on to grade 1s. 2 copies of Stealth Rogue of Summoning Jiraiya. 8k base, 10k shield. I've been too busy watching D-Series. Auto Vanguard, when placed, draw a card and put a card from your hand on the bottom of your deck, and act rear once per turn, counterblast 1 and choose one of your Vanguards, and it gets plus 10. So that's a really good ability. You get a free draw just by riding it, and then you can send something back to deck. So if you want to send a heal when you shuffle later, or a crit, or just any trigger, you can get that back. And then you can give your Vanguard plus 10 to make it even harder for your opponent to guard against the Vanguard. So, helpful card, 2 copies. 3 copies of Cornered Stealth Rogue Benjishi. 8k base, 10k shield, auto rear. When your opponent's sentinel is placed on guard circle during the battle that your Vanguard attacked, return a normal unit from your drop zone to the deck and search your deck for up to 1 card with the same card name as your Vanguard. Call to rear and shuffle your deck. That is immensely helpful because, like, 1, your Vanguard's most likely going to get PG'd, or they're just going to straight up take it. Because if they're in the negatives, and let's just say your Vanguard on average will be at like 20, maybe 30 if you combine it with Jiraiya's skill. So your opponent will most likely PG it unless they just throw down all their hand, which is objectively better. But if they do PG it, you can simply use Benji's skill to, 1, send something back to deck, and it could just be a copy of your Vanguard. Then call a copy of your Vanguard from deck to rear, use its skill to minus more power of your opponent's Vanguard. So even if they do block it with the Sentinel, their Vanguard is objectively weaker and you got more attacks out of it. So 3 copies, it can be really helpful, can also just deck recycle. And you need deck recycle. 3 copies. 4 copies of Stealth Fiend Rainey Madam. 8k base, 10k shield, auto rear. When this unit attack does not hit, put it into your soul and return a Fantasy Pedal Storm Shirayuki from your drop zone to your hand. So that's really good. It doesn't have to be its attack. It can just be anything else attack that fails to hit. You get another soul, and this deck does Soul Blast for each Chiriyuki. I believe both of them Soul Blast 2. So it's really nice that you can just recycle them and get free soul out of it. So 4 copies. And then 4 copies of our main grade 1, Partiation, Sasameyuki. 8k base, 10k shield, auto van. When placed, look at top 7, reveal up to 1 Chiriyuki card from element tier, and put into your hand and shuffle your deck. So that's good. You can search for your main grade 3, you can search for your backup grade 3, all around is really helpful ability. Then auto rear guard. When your Vanguard with Chiriyuki and its card name is placed, Soul Charge 1. So that's really good. You just get a free Soul Charge out of it just by placing a Chiriyuki Vanguard. So if you place the original one, you can minus power by Soul Blasting 2 and then Soul Charge to get one of the Soul Blasts back. Or if you ride the other one, you can Soul Charge and get preparation for it later. So either way, really helpful card. 4 copies. 4 copies of Stealth Rogue of Noah Mask Awazu. 9k base, 5k shield, auto when placed. Search your deck for up to 1 card, put it to drop, shuffle your deck, and this unit gets that card name to end of turn. So that's questionable, but the reason why it's there is mainly so you can focus your searching on 1 card, because this thing does the other for you. Because for, what's his name? For Fantasy Petal Storm. No, not that one. The other one that I don't remember the name of currently. The main Chiriyuki, basically, you want to have that on Van because it benefits you a lot more than the other one does. So, you basically search for that one, you call this down, use its skill to send Fantasy Petal Storm to the drop zone from your deck, and if you do, you just keep on using the Vanguard skill because you're constantly sending Shirayukis to drop to call Shirayukis down to minus more power during the battle phase and just make your opponent suffer. So all around really helpful card to the overall combo, I guess, so 4 copies. 4 copies of Stealth Fiend Jugatsu Girl. 9k base, 5k shield, auto rear. When its attack does not hit, look at top 7, reveal up to 2 Fantasy Petal Storm Shirayuki from on them, put 1 into your hand and put the other into drop, shuffle your deck, and if you do not reveal any cards, soul charge 1. And if 1 was revealed, you put that 1 into the hand. So that's really good. You basically get to look at top 7, get a free search or a free soul charge out of it, and so you either get minusing power, or if you don't see your minusing power, you just don't want it, you get a soul charge out of it, or either way, you're guaranteed to get something out of this. So 4 copies, really helpful card. 4 copies of Icefang Princess Tsuruhime. Probably wrong on that. 9k base, 5k shield, auto van. When placed, you may call a card with Shirayuki and its card name from your hand to rear. If you called at the end of the turn, return the called unit with the effect to your hand. And if you have 1 less cards in soul, you get to soul charge 1. So that's really good. You basically get to get a soul charge out of it if you have 1 or less soul, and get to call Shirayuki, maybe go down for a little bit of extra minus power during the grade 2 turn and just rush them. I mean, I wouldn't suggest that, but you could if you wanted to, because you get a soul charge out of it anyways. Then auto rear at the end of your turn. If you have a Vanguard Shirayuki and its card name, put this unit to soul and return one of your normal units on rear to hand. So that's really good, because you're constantly, most of the time your board's going to look like about 3 or 4 Shirayukis at a time on the field. Maybe 1 less on that, but still there's going to be a lot of Shirayukis. So you can just shove this thing to soul, get more soul for your Shirayuki Soul Blast, and then bounce one of those Shirayukis to hand. Since they both have Guardian Circle abilities, you just can place them down during Guard Circle, and then minus power from units. So, really helpful ability, gets you a recycle, gets you an extra rush factor, and can possibly just get you more soul. So 4 copies. And now into grade 3s. 4 copies of the original Shirayuki, Fantasy Petal Storm Shirayuki. Grade 3, Excel Gift, 12k base. Auto, Vanguard, Rear Guard, or Guard Circle. When placed, Soul Blast 2. Choose 3 of your units in your opponent's front row, and they lose 5,000 power to end of turn. If this unit was placed on Van or Guard, they lose 10,000 instead of 5,000. So objectively, placing this on rear is not the best. Like, if you're on the other Shirayuki, then yeah, you can place it on rear. And if you have the Soul Blast to minus, just do the minus. Force them to lose more guard. But if it's not worth it, don't do it, because it's honestly better when you place it on Van if you have to, or when you place it on Guard and you effectively have minus 30k to the whole front row. Or technically 10k to each unit, but it's still 30k in general. And then auto Van, when its attack does not hit, return a Fantasy Petal Storm Shirayuki from your drop zone to hand. So that's really good. You can just return one of these to hand and constantly throw them down as Guard Circle, or constantly ride them to just make your opponent lose more power. So 4 copies. And 4 copies of the new Shirayuki, 6 Flowers of Phantasm Chiriyuki. Continue 12k base Excel Gift, grade 3. Continuous deck or drop zone. This unit is also regarded as Fantasy Petal Storm Chiriyuki. So you can use this thing's ability to, say for some reason this is on the van and that's in drop, you can use this thing's ability if its attack fails to hit to get back your 6 Flowers of Phantasm Chiriyuki and just ride it next turn. But anyways, on to its actual skill. Auto Guard Circle, when placed, Soul Blast 2 and choose one of your opponent's front row units, and it loses 30k until end of battle. So instead of picking 3 units, you pick 1, but it loses 30k overall. So if it's like something really big, like say, for some reason your opponent's playing Valkyrion, and their Vanguard has a bunch of power because they just stacked a bunch of force markers on it. You could throw this down in this assumption you don't have a PG, or you're saving it for Valkyrion. You use its skill, Soul Blast 2, minus 30k from the opponent's Vanguard, bringing that thing to, if not the negatives, at the very least to 1 to pass, hopefully, and then you just wait for the triggers to come down, or you just block something really big. Either way, that's a really good ability, because, yeah, Shirayuki's good because it can hit multiple things at once, but that doesn't really guarantee that all of them won't hit. This more or less guarantees one of them is not hitting unless they just stack a bunch of triggers on it. and then auto Vanguard rear once per turn. When your unit's attack does not hit, if you have a Vanguard with Shirayuki in its card name, counterblast 1, choose one of your opponent's front row units and it loses 10k power to end of turn. And if this unit's on Van, you may call Chiriyuki from your drop zone to an open rearguard circle. That can get very abusive very quickly, because if you play it right, you can have, because it's not a named once per turn, if you have multiple on the board, you can use it multiple times. If you just have one of these on Van, one of them on rear, hell, you can have two of them on rear and just leave the Excel circle open. You can attack with this thing. If it fails to hit, which I really hope the person that was doing that is at 5 damage, otherwise they're making a mistake doing that. Counterblast, call down the Chiriyuki, skills of all of them, counterblast 3 more, or no, counterblast 2 more, you minus 30k from your opponent's Vanguard, bringing whatever it was to a negative guaranteedly, and then skill the other Shirayuki that was just called if you want to just punish them for ever guarding, Soul Blast 2, minus more power. And then you just rush them down with the front row, and then they can't do shit unless they have a bunch of PGs ready. So, yeah, Chiriyuki. Very annoying to deal with, especially if you hate math, because negatives can get very, 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 very annoying. And then Excel gift-wise, if you want to get the most optimal number, I think 6 is the best, because I don't think the game is going to go longer than 6. Frankly, I don't think it's going to go longer than 4, considering you're constantly beating the shit out of your opponent when they're at the negatives. Literally, the only way I can see you surviving Chiriyuki is if you either outrush them before they put you to the negatives, or you somehow prevent them from putting you to the negatives, which the only way to do that is to cheat. So, basically, long story short, is to, the only way you're beating this is to just outrush them. But anyways, Excel gift-wise, we got 6 Excel ones, which is you just get a new front row circle, and the unit on it gets plus 10k power during your turn only. The Excel 2 only gets 5k, but you get to draw out of it. And the quick shield, which is when one of your units is attacked, it gets plus 5k power. So basically just a 5k shield. Well, that was the deck. I hope you guys enjoyed. Shirayukis, to sum it up, they're actually fun to play because I have played them before. It's fun minusing your opponent's power and then just minusing 30 during one turn and then minusing another 30 during your turn and then just beating the shit out of them. And if they do survive, they probably have nothing left. So all around, it's just a very fun experience to play with, not against. If you're playing against it, you will lose. I should know. I play against Shirayuki once, but I somehow won because Force 2 is bullshit. And even if you're at -3 and they just guard for a 1 to pass for some reason, and you drive, or technically 2 to pass, and you drive check 2 triggers, well, your opponent gonna die. And it's very fun watching it happen. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment,